The galaxy was vast, filled with stars that twinkled like diamonds against an endless black canvas. Among these stars lay two worlds: Earth, home to humanity, and the Empire of Zithera, ruled by a royal family known for its wisdom and strength. For years, tensions had simmered between Earth and Zithera. The humans were seen as unpredictable, while the Zitherans viewed themselves as superior. But now, peace seemed possible through an unlikely alliance: a marriage. Princess Yun-Jin stood on the balcony of her palace, gazing at the distant horizon. Her golden robes shimmered under the light of 3 moons, but her heart felt heavy. She had always dreamed of freedom, of exploring the universe beyond her duties. Yet here she was, about to marry someone she had never met, all for the sake of diplomacy. "Your Highness," a soft voice called from behind her. It was An Subin, her trusted servant and friend. "The delegation from Earth has arrived." Yun-Jin turned, her dark eyes reflecting both curiosity and unease. "And who is he? The man I am to marry?" Subin hesitated before answering. "His name is Kang Min-Soo. He is quiet, they say, reserved. Not much else is known about him." Quiet, reserved. Those words did little to ease Yun-Jin's anxiety. Still, she nodded and followed Subin inside. The throne room buzzed with anticipation as dignitaries from both planets gathered. At the center stood Min-Soo, tall and lean, dressed in plain clothes that contrasted sharply with the elaborate attire of the Zitheran court. His expression was calm, almost unreadable, as if he were observing everything without truly engaging. When Yun-Jin entered, all eyes turned to her. She walked gracefully, her head held high, though her hands trembled slightly. As she approached Min-Soo, she studied him closely. His features were sharp yet gentle, his gaze steady but not intrusive. There was something about him, something she couldn't quite place, that intrigued her. "Greetings, Princess Yun-Jin," Min-Soo said finally, his voice low and measured. "It is an honor to meet you." "The honor is mine," Yun-Jin replied, forcing a smile. "I hope we can come to know each other better in the days ahead." Min-Soo inclined his head slightly. "As do I." Over the next few days, preparations for the wedding dominated the palace. Yun-Jin found herself watching Min-Soo whenever she could. He rarely spoke unless spoken to, preferring instead to observe those around him. When he did speak, and his words carried weight, cutting through unnecessary chatter with precision. It was as if he understood people better than they understood themselves. One evening during a formal dinner, Empress Hai-Wan addressed the guests. "This union marks a new chapter for our peoples," she declared, raising her glass. "May it bring prosperity and peace to both our worlds." Cheers erupted around the table, but Yun-Jin noticed Min-Soo remained silent. He sipped his drink thoughtfully, his eyes scanning the room. Something about his demeanor made her wonder if he believed in the Empress's words, or if he even cared about them at all. Later that night, unable to sleep, Yun-Jin wandered into the palace gardens. To her surprise, she found Min-Soo there, standing beneath a tree illuminated by glowing lanterns. He didn't seem startled by her presence, and rather he appeared to expect it. "You're restless too?" he asked, his tone softer than usual. "I suppose so," Yun-Jin admitted. "It's strange, isn't it? Being thrust into something so monumental when we barely know each other." Min-Soo nodded slowly. "Life often demands things of us we aren't prepared for, but sometimes those demands lead to unexpected outcomes." His words puzzled her. "What kind of outcomes?" He hesitated, then shook his head. "Nothing worth discussing tonight. Perhaps another time." Before Yun-Jin could press further, a sudden commotion broke out nearby. Guards shouted, and the sound of footsteps echoed through the garden. Min-Soo reacted instantly, grabbing Yun-Jin's arm and pulling her behind the tree just as a figure darted past them. "Stay here," he whispered urgently. To her astonishment, but Min-Soo moved with unnatural speed, intercepting the intruder within seconds. A brief struggle ensued, ending when Min-Soo disarmed the would-be assassin with ease. The guards arrived moments later, dragging the attacker away. Breathing heavily, Yoon-jin stepped out from behind the tree. "Who was that? Why would anyone try to harm me?" Min-Soo's face was grim. "There are those who oppose this alliance. They see it as a threat to their power." "But how did you—" She stopped mid-sentence, staring at him. "You moved so quickly. How did you do that?" For the first time since they'd met, Min-Soo looked uncertain. "Some skills are best left unexplained," he said quietly. "For now, trust that I will protect you." Yoon-jin wanted to ask more, but the look in his eyes told her it wasn't the right moment. Instead, she simply nodded. "Ah, thank you," she murmured. As they returned to the palace, Yoon-jin couldn't shake the feeling that there was far more to Kang Min-soo than anyone realized. Who was he really, and what secrets was he hiding? The journey to Earth was long but uneventful. Princess Yoon-jin spent most of her time staring out the window of the spacecraft, watching as stars streaked past like tiny sparks. Her mind was filled with questions about Kang Min-soo, about Earth, and about the future that awaited her. She had left her home planet behind, unsure if she would ever feel truly at ease again. When they arrived, Yoon-jin stepped off the ship into a world unlike anything she had imagined. Earth was vibrant and chaotic, its cities bustling with life. Towering buildings reached toward the sky, their surfaces shimmering with colorful lights. And the air smelled different here, cleaner, fresher, and carried the faint hum of energy. Kang Min-soo stood beside her, his expression calm as always. "Welcome to Earth," he said simply. Yoon-jin glanced at him, trying to gauge his emotions. Was he proud of his planet? Did he feel any connection to it? His face gave nothing away. Their arrival sparked celebrations across the globe. Leaders from every corner of Earth gathered to honor the union between Zethera and humanity. For days, there were parades, feasts, and speeches praising the alliance. Yet through it all, Min-soo remained distant, speaking only when necessary and avoiding large crowds whenever possible. One evening, during a grand banquet held in their honor, Yoon-jin found herself seated next to Dr. Park Ji-eun, a brilliant scientist who seemed to know Min-soo well. Aunt Ji-eun was warm and approachable, her smile genuine as she engaged Yoon-jin in conversation. "You must have many questions about Min-soo," Ji-eun said casually, sipping her drink. Yoon-jin hesitated before nodding. "He's difficult to understand. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever truly know him." Ji-eun chuckled softly. "Min-soo has always been a man of few words, but trust me, he cares deeply about those he holds close." "Then why does he keep so much hidden?" Yoon-jin asked, her frustration slipping through. Ji-eun's smile faded slightly. "There are things about him that are better left unsaid. For now, just know that his silence isn't meant to hurt you. It's meant to protect you." "Protect her? From what?" Before Yoon-jin could ask more, Commander Lee Sang-hyun approached their table. He was a tall, an imposing figure with sharp features and an even sharper gaze. His uniform marked him as a leader among Earth's defense forces, and his presence commanded attention. "Princess," Sang-hyun greeted stiffly, "I hope your stay on Earth has been pleasant so far." "It has," Yoon-jin replied politely, "though I admit I still have much to learn about your world." Sang-hyun nodded, though his eyes flickered briefly toward Min-soo. "Indeed, and perhaps some lessons are best learned slowly." Turning to Min-soo, he added, "May I speak with you privately?" Min-soo rose without hesitation, following Seong-hyun to a quiet corner of the room. Yoon-jin watched them intently, catching fragments of their heated exchange. Whatever they discussed, it clearly unsettled Min-soo, though he hid it well once they returned. Later that night, unable to sleep, Yoon-jin wandered the halls of the facility where they were staying. She didn't expect to find Min-soo sitting alone in a dimly lit lounge, staring at a holographic display of star charts. He looked up when she entered, his expression softening slightly. "You should be resting," he said. "So should you," Yoon-jin countered, taking a seat across from him. "What troubles you?" Min-soo sighed, leaning back in his chair. "Commander Seung-hyun doesn't trust me. He believes my involvement in this alliance threatens Earth's security." "Do you blame him?" Yoon-jin asked gently. "After all, we barely know each other. How can anyone else be expected to trust you?" Min-soo met her gaze, his dark eyes searching hers. "Trust is earned, not given freely, but I assure you, my intentions are pure." "Yet you still hide things from me," Yoon-jin pressed. "Things that might help me understand you better." Min-soo hesitated, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. Activating it, he projected an image onto the table, a series of complex diagrams and equations. "This is part of who I am," he explained, "but it's not something I can explain easily, or safely." Yoon-jin studied the projection, her brow furrowing. "What is it?" "Classified information," Min-soo admitted. "Suffice it to say, I wasn't born entirely human." Her breath caught in her throat. "What do you mean?" "I mean that I carry traits, not entirely natural, that make me unique. Traits that some fear could be used for harm rather than good." Yoon-jin sat silently, absorbing his words. Fear mingled with fascination as she realized just how extraordinary Min-soo truly was. Does this change anything?" she asked finally. "Between us?" Min-soo shook his head. "Only if you let it. I swore to protect you, Yoon-jin, not just from external threats, but from myself as well. If my existence makes you uncomfortable, I will step aside." "No," Yoon-jin said firmly. "You saved my life once already. That counts for something." A flicker of relief passed over Min-soo's face. "Thank you," he murmured, "for believing in me." As they talked late into the night, Yoon-jin began to see glimpses of the man beneath the mystery. Though he still guarded his secrets closely, she sensed that he trusted her more than he let on, and for the first time since their engagement, she felt a glimmer of hope, that perhaps this marriage wouldn't be as hollow as she had feared. The galaxy was no longer at peace. Rumors of rebellion spread like wildfire, igniting fear among both Earth's leaders and Zithera's royal court. General Choi Dae-hyun, a ruthless military leader from a rogue faction, had declared war on the Empire. His forces were small but relentless, striking key locations across the galaxy with precision. The fragile alliance between Earth and Zithera now faced its greatest test. Princess Yoon-jin returned to her home planet alongside Kang Min-soo, their bond stronger than ever despite the looming threat. Yet even as they worked together to prepare for battle, Yoon-jin couldn't shake the feeling that Min-soo was holding back, both in his actions and his emotions. He moved through the palace halls with quiet determination, his mind always elsewhere, as if calculating every possible outcome. One day, while walking through the gardens, Yoon-jin spotted Dr. Park Ji-eun speaking urgently with Min-soo. Their voices were low, but she caught fragments of their conversation. "Not safe anymore," Ji-eun said. "If they find out what you are—" Yoon-jin froze, her heart pounding. What exactly was Min-soo? She had seen glimpses of his extraordinary abilities, the speed, the strength, but there was still so much she didn't understand. And though he had hinted at his unnatural origins, he had never fully explained them. That night, unable to contain her curiosity any longer, Yoon-jin confronted him in private. They stood on the balcony overlooking the city below, the lights twinkling like stars against the dark horizon. "Tell me the truth," she demanded, her voice trembling slightly. "What are you hiding?" Minsu turned to face her, his expression unreadable. For a moment, and he said nothing, then sighed deeply. I was created, Yunjin, not born. My body carries traits engineered from ancient alien DNA. I am faster, stronger, smarter than any ordinary human. But I am also dangerous. Yunjin stared at him, her mind racing. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because I feared rejection, Minsu admitted. And because I didn't want to burden you with knowledge that could put you in danger. There are those who would see me destroyed, or worse, used as a weapon. Tears welled up in Yunjin's eyes, not from fear, but from sadness. Do you think I care about that? You've protected me, fought for me, trusted me. How can you doubt that I'd stand by you? Minsu reached out, gently brushing a tear from her cheek. You deserve better than someone like me. Someone who isn't entirely real. You're wrong, Yunjin whispered fiercely. You're more real than anyone I've ever known. Before either of them could say more, an alarm blared throughout the palace. Guards rushed past, shouting orders. Minsu immediately tensed, his instincts kicking in. Stay close to me, he instructed, taking Yunjin's hand. They hurried to the throne room where chaos reigned. Empress Hye-wan stood at the center, her face pale with worry. General Choi has launched an attack, she announced. He's taken control of the eastern sector and is advancing toward the capital. As panic spread among the court, Minsu stepped forward. We need to evacuate the civilians immediately. I'll lead the defense effort. No, Yunjin protested. You can't go alone. Let me help you. Minsu shook his head firmly. This isn't your fight. Stay here where it's safe. But Yunjin refused to back down. It is my fight. These are my people. If you're willing to risk everything for them, then so am I. Reluctantly, Minsu agreed, knowing there was no time to argue further. Together, they joined the resistance forces preparing to defend the capital. As they marched through the streets, Yunjin noticed how the soldiers looked at Minsu with awe and fear. Word of his abilities had spread, and many wondered if he truly was humanity's savior, or its greatest threat. The battle began under the cover of darkness. Explosions lit up the sky as General Choi's forces closed in. Minsu fought with unmatched skill, moving like a shadow among the enemy ranks. He disarmed attackers with ease, his movements fluid and precise. Watching him, Yunjin realized just how powerful he truly was, and how much he had sacrificed to keep his true nature hidden. Despite their efforts, the tide of the battle shifted when General Choi himself appeared on the battlefield. Towering over his troops, he wielded advanced weaponry designed to counter Minsu's strengths. With a cruel smile, he addressed the princess directly. Surrender, Your Highness, Choi called out, or watch your precious human die. Minsu stepped protectively in front of Yunjin, his jaw clenched. Don't listen to him, he said quietly. I won't let him hurt you. Choi laughed coldly. You think you're invincible? Let's see how far your enhancements take you. With that, Choi unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, forcing Minsu to dodge and weave. Though injured, Minsu refused to falter, and driven by his promise to protect Yunjin. Summoning all his strength, he charged forward, engaging Choi in hand-to-hand combat. The clash was brutal, each blow reverberating through the air like thunder. Finally, with one swift motion, Minsu delivered a decisive strike, disabling Choi's weapon and leaving him vulnerable. Before Choi could recover, Minsu pinned him to the ground, his voice low and menacing. This ends now. As the remaining enemy forces retreated, the surviving defenders cheered, hailing Minsu as a hero. But Yunjin saw the toll the battle had taken on him. Blood trickled from a wound on his forehead, and his breathing was labored. Still, he managed a faint smile when he saw her approaching. You did it, she said softly, tears streaming down her face. We did it. Min-soo corrected, pulling her into a tight embrace. Together. In that moment, Yoon-jin knew beyond a doubt that she loved him, not despite his differences, but because of them. He was extraordinary, yes, but he was also kind, loyal, and selfless. And though the galaxy might tremble at the mention of his name, she felt only gratitude for having found someone who understood her in ways no one else ever could. The aftermath of the battle left scars, not just on the land, but on the hearts of those who had fought. The capital city lay in ruins, its once bright streets now littered with debris and ash. Survivors wandered aimlessly, searching for loved ones or simply trying to make sense of what had happened. Though General Choi's rebellion had been crushed, the cost of victory weighed heavily on everyone. Princess Yoon-jin retreated to a secluded wing of the palace, and seeking solace away from the chaos. Her mind replayed the events of the battle over and over again. The way Kang Min-soo had fought with unmatched strength, the way he had risked everything to protect her. Yet despite his heroism, she couldn't shake the feeling that something still stood between them. His secrets, though partially revealed, lingered like shadows in the corners of their relationship. Kang Min-soo, too, kept his distance. He spent most of his time assisting with recovery efforts, helping rebuild homes and tend to the wounded. His actions were selfless. Yet there was a sadness in his eyes that Yoon-jin hadn't seen before. It was as if he believed himself unworthy of happiness or love. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, An Soo-bin approached Yoon-jin. Your Highness," she said gently. "You've been avoiding him, haven't you?" Yoon-jin sighed, looking out at the damaged cityscape. "I don't know how to face him, Soo-bin. He saved us all, but I can't stop thinking about everything he's kept hidden. What if there's more? What if I'll never truly understand him?" Soo-bin placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. Understanding isn't always about knowing every detail. Sometimes, it's about accepting someone for who they are, even when they're different. Her words struck a chord within Yoon-jin. She realized she had been so focused on uncovering Min-soo's secrets that she had forgotten the most important thing. He had chosen to stand by her side, no matter the cost. And wasn't that enough? Determined to bridge the gap between them, Yoon-jin sought out Min-soo. She found him working alongside engineers in the eastern sector, helping repair a collapsed bridge. Dirt smudged his face, and his hands were calloused from hours of labor, but he looked up when he noticed her approach. "Yoon-jin," he said, his voice tinged with surprise. "Is everything all right?" "I came to talk," she replied, stepping closer. "We need to settle this, whatever is between us." Min-soo hesitated, then nodded. "All right, let's go somewhere quieter." They walked to a nearby hill overlooking the city, where the sounds of construction faded into the background. Sitting side by side, they gazed at the stars twinkling above. "I'm sorry," Min-soo began, breaking the silence, "for keeping so much from you. I thought I was protecting you, but maybe I only made things worse." "It's not just about the secrets," Yoon-jin admitted. "It's about trust. Do you trust me enough to let me in, to share your burdens instead of carrying them alone?" Min-soo turned to look at her, his dark eyes filled with emotion. "I do trust you, Yoon-jin, more than anyone else. But I've spent so long hiding who I am that it's hard to open up completely. I'm afraid of losing you." "You won't lose me," she said firmly, taking his hand in hers. "Not unless you push me away. I care about you, Min-soo, not because of what you can do, but because of who you are. You've shown me courage, kindness, and loyalty. Those are the things that matter." Tears welled up in Min-soo's eyes, though he quickly blinked them away. "Thank you," he whispered, "for seeing me, not just the weapon, but the man." From that moment on, their bond grew stronger. Together, and they devised a plan to unite their fractured societies by embracing transparency. They decided to reveal the truth about Min-Soo, not as a threat, but as proof of humanity's potential for greatness. With Dr. Park Ji-yoon's help, they organized a public address, inviting leaders from both Earth and Zithara to witness Min-Soo's abilities firsthand. On the day of the address, crowds gathered in the rebuilt central square. Min-Soo stood beside Yoon-jin, his presence calm yet commanding. As cameras rolled, Yoon-jin stepped forward to speak. "For years, our peoples have viewed each other with suspicion and fear," she began. "But today we stand united, not just through marriage, but through understanding. My husband, Kang Min-Soo, is unlike anyone you've ever met. He carries traits engineered from ancient alien DNA, making him faster, stronger, and smarter than any ordinary human. Yet he has chosen to use these gifts not for destruction, but for protection, for peace." Min-Soo then demonstrated his abilities, moving with incredible speed and lifting heavy objects with ease. Gasps rippled through the crowd, followed by murmurs of awe. When he finished, Yoon-jin continued. "Min-Soo represents hope, a reminder that even those born under extraordinary circumstances can choose compassion over conflict. Together, we can build a future where differences are celebrated, not feared." The speech was met with thunderous applause, signaling a turning point for both planets. Leaders who had once opposed the alliance now pledged their support, inspired by Min-Soo's example. Slowly but surely, the galaxy began to heal. In the weeks that followed, Yoon-jin and Min-Soo worked tirelessly to foster cooperation between their worlds. They traveled across Earth and Zithara, meeting with citizens and listening to their concerns. Through their efforts, bridges were built, not just between nations, but between hearts. One night, as they strolled through the newly restored palace gardens, Yoon-jin leaned her head against Min-Soo's shoulder. "Do you think we've done enough?" she asked softly. "We've started something," he replied. "And as long as we keep going, it'll be enough." She smiled, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. For the first time, she believed in the possibility of a brighter future. Not just for herself, but for everyone. Years had passed since the war that nearly tore the galaxy apart. The scars of battle still lingered in some places, crumbling ruins, and empty fields where cities once stood, but hope had taken root in the hearts of many. Under the leadership of Princess Yoon-jin and Kang Min-Soo, Earth and Zithara flourished together, united by trust and understanding. Their marriage, once seen as a political necessity, had become a symbol of unity, a testament to what could be achieved when people chose compassion over fear. Yoon-jin stood on the balcony of her palace, gazing at the bustling streets below. Gone were the days of suspicion and hostility. Now humans and Zitharans walked side by side, sharing laughter and stories. Children played in the parks, their laughter echoing through the air like music. It was a sight she never tired of, a reminder of how far they had come. Behind her, Min-Soo approached quietly, his footsteps soft against the marble floor. "You're thinking about the past again," he said, his voice gentle. She turned to him with a smile. "How did you know?" "Because I see it in your eyes," he replied. "The same look you get whenever you remember everything we've been through." Yoon-jin nodded, leaning into him as he wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "It's hard to believe how much has changed. Sometimes I wonder if we dreamed it all." Min-Soo chuckled softly. "If it was a dream, it's one worth holding on to." Together, they reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From their uneasy beginnings to the battles they had fought, not just against enemies, but within themselves, they had faced every challenge head-on. Along the way, they had learned to embrace their differences, finding strength in what made them unique. Their partnership extended beyond personal matters. And as rulers, they worked tirelessly to ensure peace endured, trade routes reopened, cultural exchanges thrived, and scientific advancements benefited both planets. Minsu's extraordinary abilities continued to inspire awe, but no longer did they evoke fear. Instead, they served as proof that even those born under extraordinary circumstances could choose kindness over destruction. One day, while visiting a newly established research facility, Yoonjin and Min-soo met with Dr. Park Ji-yoon, who had played a pivotal role in their journey. Her work had helped bridge the gap between humanity and alien technology, paving the way for innovations that improved countless lives. "You've done amazing things," Yoonjin told Ji-yoon warmly. "We couldn't have come this far without you." Ji-yoon smiled humbly. "I only did my part. The real heroes are the two of you, for showing everyone that change is possible." Later that evening, as they prepared for a celebration honoring their achievements, Yoonjin found herself alone with Min-soo in their private chambers. She studied him carefully, noting the lines on his face that hadn't been there years ago. Time had touched them both, yet it had also deepened their connection. "What are you thinking?" Min-soo asked, catching her gaze. "I'm thinking about us," she admitted. "About how far we've come, and how lucky I am to have you by my side." Min-soo reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "The luck is mine, Yoonjin. You gave me something I never thought I'd have, a home, a purpose, and someone who sees me for who I truly am." Tears welled up in her eyes, though she smiled through them. "Do you ever regret it? Choosing me? Choosing this life?" "Never," he said firmly. "Every moment with you has been worth it. The struggles, the victories, everything." As the celebration unfolded, Yoonjin and Min-soo addressed the gathered crowd, their words filled with gratitude and hope. They spoke of the challenges they had overcome, the lessons they had learned, and the dreams they still shared for the future. When they finished, applause erupted, echoing through the grand hall like thunder. That night, as they stood together beneath the stars, Yoonjin felt a profound sense of contentment. The galaxy was vast and unpredictable, but she knew one thing for certain. As long as she had Min-soo, she could face anything. "Do you think our story will be remembered?" she asked softly. "It already is," Min-soo replied. "Not because of what we've done, but because of what we represent. Two worlds coming together, proving that even the impossible can become possible." Yoonjin leaned her head against his shoulder, closing her eyes as a gentle breeze swept past. In that moment, she realized that their legacy wasn't just about peace or prosperity. It was about love, the kind of love that transcended boundaries, defied expectations, and inspired others to believe in a better tomorrow. And so, as the stars shimmered above and the galaxy stretched endlessly before them, Yoonjin and Min-soo embraced, knowing their bond would endure long after the stars had faded, a beacon of hope shining eternal.